Welcome to this week's edition of Kings Spotlight. Joining us once again is Kings College football coach Jeff Knarr. Coach, thanks for being with us again this week.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, the Monarchs enjoyed a big 63-37 road win over Misericordia last week in a game in which several school records were set, including 63 points scored and 655 yards of total offense in the game. Defensively, Kings played very well as Misericordia was second in the MAC in rushing at nearly 175 yards per game, and your Kings defense held them to just 94 yards. You've also talked about the importance of cutting down on penalties after averaging 11 per game, and the team responded with just 6 for 28 yards against Misericordia. Evaluate your team's overall performance in that game.
I thought our kids overall, played very well. Proud of the effort because we knew, you're going to their homecoming. It's a rivalry game. We were going to get their best shot. And what we've been telling our guys is to come out, the locker room and be able to, to weather the storm right away, but to come after them and attack them, right off the get-go. And we had a good kick return, and then the opening drive, be able to go down and get a touchdown. Was huge, and then we get a stop on D, and then we get another touchdown, and immediately go up 2 scores helped set the tone, for how the day was, and then our kids played hard and gave great effort, in all 3 phases throughout the day.
Coach, looking ahead to this week's game, Kings has a major challenge with a 12:30 road game at MAC leader Delaware Valley. The Aggies are 6-0 overall and 5-0 in the MAC, and they just knocked off previously unbeaten Albright 41-6 on the road. Del Val has moved up in the national rankings to the number 6 spot in the American Football Coaches Association poll. And for the second week in a row, Kings is the designated homecoming opponent. Have you had a chance to watch film on Delaware Valley, and what are your impressions of the team on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, we watched a lot of film, and they're very good. I think they have 8 seniors, on defense. So they're very experienced, and then defensively, extremely athletic. They run very, very well, great, team speed. But then the guys, again, have very good, strength and they're, powerful. They're very well sound. I mean, they back up their blitzes, very well. They have a variety of pressures and different ways to play defense. Then offensively, the tailback is one of the best in the conference, if not, the best, running back, in the conference from there. The quarterback does a great job, throwing the ball to very talented wide receivers, but he also does damage, with his feet as well. And they're big up front, offensively. They like to run the ball. They're a run-first, football team, and then set up the, big plays, in the pass game. So they're very, very athletic, big and strong, and a talented football team. And so far through 6 weeks, they've earned and proven, they're a worthy top 10 team.
Well, Coach, let's talk about those skill position players you were just referring to. Their offense is led by their junior quarterback, Deshaun Darden, and he's another dual-threat quarterback. Darden has completed nearly 60% of his passes and thrown 14 touchdowns with just 2 interceptions. He's also rushed for 276 yards. Statistically, he is very well-rounded and appears to make very few mistakes.
Yeah, because he does good decisions. He gets back there. If he doesn't like what he sees, he doesn't force the ball because he knows he can make plays with his feet or extend plays with his feet and find somebody open in a scramble to drill type of situation. And he's got very good talented receivers, so he doesn't need to try to force throws that aren't there. He could tuck it and run. So that's why he doesn't throw many interceptions, and then does a great job again. Just on called quarterback runs, but does a lot of his damage when things aren't there in the pass game, and he tucks it and make plays from that standpoint.
And also their running back, their senior tailback, Devontae Ellis. He's having a very solid year, as you referenced earlier. He leads the MAC in rushing with 567 yards and averages 5.6 yards per carry. But he's not your typical MAC Division III back. He's 6'1", 227 pounds. So he's really a rare combination of speed and power.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he can run hard through the tackles. He'll lower his shoulder, get the hard runs, but then they can get him on the edge, and he can run by people. So he's a a dual threat, and in that aspect, and he's a game-breaking type of a tailback. Which again, you're a run-first offense. You want your tailback to be able to make plays and be able to run, up the middle or around the edges, and he does that, very well.
Now let's talk about the receivers for a moment. They don't have anybody in particular who dominates statistically or has big numbers that jump out, but they have several players who get the ball a lot and are very even across the board in terms of distribution. So talk about their core of receivers and tight ends.
I think when you have very talented, guys, then you can, spread things out. And it doesn't have to be, throw the ball to this guy. Like last year with us, we had 8 guys or so that had over 20 some, receptions, and Zach did a great job of distributing the ball to who the defense covered and found the open guy. And then Del Valle does the same thing. They have very talented, wide receivers that could all be the one, but their quarterback does a great job of figuring out what the defense, if they take this guy away, he knows he can go here through his progressions and reads, and those guys can make plays. So they do a great job of distributing the ball, and no one just have to focus on one guy, because they have 3 and 4 and number 80, the tight end. Those guys are all playmakers, and at times can be the number one go-to receiver. So when you have a situation like that, it just falls on your quarterback to distribute the ball to to who he thinks is open through his progressions and reads. And so far, their quarterback's done a great job of doing that.
Well, the Delaware Valley offense ranks first in the MAC scoring, so the defense actually has a tough task ahead of it. Your defense has done a good job this year of getting pressure on the quarterback. Kings ranks second in the MAC with 11 sacks, and 11 different players have been in on sacks this season. So surely that will be a key area in this game. But what else does the defense need to accomplish in order to be successful?
We got to contain the the run. Keep him. He gets big plays, and trying to give up big plays in the run, and kind of put them in situations, where maybe they, we can say they have to throw, and then try to get pressure if we can, and then finish with our pressures. I think the last 2 weeks we've improved, in that category where we've been able to kind of finish, on the quarterback with our sacks from that, kind of maybe if you get him in an uncomfortable situation, throw before he wants to, then the chances of it being incomplete or us being able to make a play in the ball, increase from that standpoint. But we'll start up front. We need to be physical up front, try to control the line of scrimmage, reestablish the line of scrimmage behind, and make them, contain the run and not let them, have their will run in the football. Because if they, if you can run the ball, you can kind of do what you want to do, offensively. So we can, we've done a good job all year stopping the run and playing physical football. So we need to do that on Saturday again and try to get them in the situations where then we can get, our pressure, which has been pretty good and getting better, and then finish, with our pressures.
Coach, the offense at Kings is ranked second in the MAC in scoring, but also leads the league in total offense, while ranking second in both passing and rushing yards per game. Delaware Valley's defense allows the fewest points in the MAC and also the fewest total yards of any defense in the league, while also ranking first against the run and second against the pass. They are also tied with Kings for second place in the conference with 16 sacks. Something has to give on the field when your strong offense faces their strong defense.
Yeah, and hopefully, for us, we were really happy with last week where, we were able to move the ball, on the ground and methodically go down the field, but then hit big plays in the pass game and broke a big run. So kind of the same recipe has to be in there. We have to have, a kind of a balanced, attack against their defense, and be happy with, be able to move the chains and do, get plays that'll get you 4 to 6 yards, and look at those as successful type plays, and not always look for the home run or think you're going to get the home run against their their defense, which is very talented. And then we do that and be able to move the chains, and then an opportunity arises to to go after a big play. Then we need to execute it from that standpoint. So the kind of the the game plan and how our offense executed last week is the goal for this week.
Coach, Kings has a 2-1 record in away games this year. Is there anything that you talk to the team about when you're going on the road that helps the players embrace the challenge of being the visiting team and traveling to a hostile territory? I
mean, one thing we always try to get our mindset is it's a business trip, that they're going to go on a business trip, and their job is to go out and play well, in the game. And then try to tell them to embrace, the atmosphere and enjoy the atmosphere. When you're, at Stevenson, they have great home stands. Their music and stuff is loud and kind of a Division I type of of an atmosphere from that deal. Lebanon Valley had like their pink out game because they were away a lot, so they had a big crowd. They always travel well. It was a good atmosphere. And then being a homecoming team, it's going to bring a lot of people back on campus. So it's an electric, exciting type of an atmosphere. Embrace it and not shy away from it. And our kids have understand that. They embrace that. They embrace the idea that it go on the road. It's a business trip. And we're there to go out there and play the best football Kings can and come away with the win.
And finally, Coach, this is a big game for both teams for several different reasons. So what can fans look forward to seeing when this game kicks off?
The one thing is, our kids embrace the challenge. I mean, this is why you play the game. You want to be, measured against, the best. And right now, Del Val's the best team in our conference, and they're ranked in the top, 10 nationally. So it's a great stage for our kids to go out there and play. We've been playing well, good football. So we're excited to see how our kids are going to play, on Saturday from that. We need to play, disciplined football, continue to work and have minimal penalties and not have self-inflicted, wounds or give a team as good as Del Val, more opportunities, than they need, from that standpoint. So if we can play good, smart, disciplined football, every drive ends in a kick, and finish, our plays and take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves and try to create opportunities for ourselves, it'll be a good football game.
Well, Coach, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for your time, and good luck to you and the Monarchs on Saturday when you travel to Doylestown to face Delaware Valley University at 12:30 p.m. And to all those Kings fans who may be listening to this, remember it's homecoming at Del Val. Get there early so you can get parking.
All right, thanks for having me.